Welcome to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45, and it's not witness protection, but I'm on the move. I'm excited because I'm going to go to the classic, which we're going to talk about on the show, the Loudon Classic, one of the oldest motorcycle racing in the U.S. Not one, it is the oldest, and so I'm excited to go and see. For me, it's where it all started. It's where I started racing at Loudon. I raced there for a long time before I started going to other tracks. It's my home, and I'm excited for it. Before we bring the guys on, I want to thank all the folks that are liking, subscribing, commenting. Really appreciate checking out the videos and stuff like that as well. I have exciting news to break. I'm going to break a little bit. Woodcraft, who we have the Rexy code for shopping and stuff like that. If you spend over $100, you now get a free Woodcraft T-shirt or maybe something else as well. So definitely use the code when you're shopping because you get free stuff, and it's not all the time you get free things. So if you can get something for free, you might as well take advantage of it. So definitely use the QR code or when you call in or go on the website, just mention the Rexy. And you'll get yourself a free T-shirt. I mean, it's rare that you're going to spend something under $100. So when you're shopping, you might as well get some gear. Summertime, you need gear. Go to the website. We have new merch, the Be Forever Cool T-shirt that I'm rocking. Since I'm traveling, you can't really see what I'm, without standing up. But go to the website and grab yourself a T-shirt, black or blue, navy. We got some hats coming. We got some other things coming. Exciting stuff for the podcast. Very excited. Last but not least, Mark 10, Motorsport, Pirelli Tire, mention Rexy45 or Be Forever Cool and get a 10% off some track tires, race tires. That's pretty good. Getting some money off, you know what I'm saying, to go racing and stuff like that. So Be Forever Cool podcast. We're trying to save you some money and very excited about these opportunities. So definitely mention us when you shop for Pirelli tires and Woodcraft. And, there may be some more things coming in the future. You never know. But let's keep it moving. Harry, man, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Rex, man? I'm just glad to be here, man. It was a good weekend of Superbike and motorsport racing and World Superbike, and that I'm just excited to get to talking to the guys, man, and just see everybody's opinion.
Right. What's the temperature like down by where you are, man? What's the riding scene like? And you guys get together like once a week, like multiple times a week? What's the riding scene like?
Well, it's like majority like this Texas, man. So like if we don't ride in the morning, we'll ride late in the evening, like around this time, because like the temperature started to drop. But during the day, man, look, I messed up already and wore a tank top. You wore a tank top and because it was too hot, but I'll never do that again. But you can't ride during the day here. Anywhere between 11 to 4 o'clock, man, you just put your bike up, man. Just wait till the sun go down a little bit. But yeah, the ride, I mean, everybody's out here riding several events all during the week. And, it's Texas, man. You can ride here all year round, just not all day long. All day long here, man. That's it.
Well,
it's hot.
Yeah, it's similar in Florida as well. You know what I mean? I'm starting to realize, like, at first when I joined a couple of riding groups just to meet people and get out and ride and not be just riding by myself. But like at first I was just like, man, they're riding at night, but it makes sense because I could ride in the daytime. Don't get me wrong, I can survive it if I had to. But it's not the kind of riding that you're sitting here excited about. You're just surviving it, and
absolutely,
it's not as funny. And as you know, with the Ducatis, they run so hot. So you already know. And for me, when it's 85 degrees or above, it's riding below, riding the speed limit is too hot.
Right. Yeah, it is. Because that bike get hot. That bike gets hot, especially riding the speed limit.
Yeah. No doubt. Hold on tight, man. We're gonna get Tyson in here. Tyson, welcome to the show. How you doing? I know your S1000 doesn't get as hot as the Ducatis.
I was just about to talk shit. I was like, unlike you guys, I bought an actual machine that, properly dissipates its heat, gets rid of that, go away from me. But the weather up here's been pretty nice. It's been like a nice, cool 75, perfect for riding all day. So, we only get some good months out of the year, so they might as well be good when we've got them.
Yeah, I know, man. It's interesting because, like, you hear Harry talking about down that way, and riding all year round, but you got this window where it's kind of like you got to be a mad person to be out there in it on a bike. I don't care what you're wearing, but up here it's kind of like, look, I mean, it seems like our riding season has shrunk down to, like, I say our, like I'm down Florida now, but like it seemed like it shrunk down to, like, June, July, and August, and which is, 3 months is not a lot of time to ride, but we do get a lot of riding in.
Yeah, I mean, those are probably like the prime riding months. Like that's where you're gonna get your best weather. But like, I definitely am bringing the bike out around April, and I'm putting it away around November probably. If there's no snow on the ground, I will have my bike in at least a ready state to ride it on the occasional good day we might have. Because, I mean, being up here, it'll be snowing one day, and then the next day it's 75 degrees, and it's beautiful. So, it's like when I was younger, I'd probably take it out a lot sooner and I'd leave it out a lot later. But these days, yeah, right around April and then around October, November, I'd put it away. But you usually get a couple good days. It's not a lot. It's usually mostly like 50-degree weather, that's pretty cold when you're doing 60, 70 plus,
Yeah. Yeah, when I was young, we used to go play basketball in the snow, and I don't do that anymore. But with heated gear, you can come out in January and December, because when I was living here, I did ride every month. When it was clear out, I was on the bike and I was riding. I had heated gear though, so I wasn't like freezing going down the highway.
Yeah.
So it is. I think for if you enjoy riding, at least we have the gear that can keep you toasty up here. We don't have gear that can. I think they're working on gear that has cooling mechanisms in it. I think they've kind of done that with MotoGP a couple of times back in the past. Some of the brands and stuff like that, to see if they can kind of cool. But once we can, pump like a little AC vent into the side of a suit or something like that, then I can ride it 100-degree weather down in Texas or Florida.
That's gonna be the once airbags are officially like ubiquitous and stuff. The next thing is gonna be climate control in a jacket or a suit, man. Oh, that'd be so nice though. Like the amount of days, like we do get hot days up here. Like I've gone out riding in the mountains. It's 90, 95 degrees out. You know what I mean? It's humid as balls too. And like you're just so dripping sweat the entire time. Like you lose so much water.
So is it dry? Is it dry up there or?
No, it's humid as fuck.
Seriously? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like during the summer, it's close to, I would say it's 75% to 100% humidity every day.
Whew.
For the most part.
Yeah, when I stayed in upstate New York, it was crazy. Like I didn't think it would get that cold in that area, like beyond Syracuse, in the Syracuse area. I was just like, man, I still remember that time, but it was still a good time though, especially riding though.
Yeah, Syracuse area gets real cold because of all the wind that comes off the lakes. So like Syracuse, Buffalo, cold.
Yeah, cold and like 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, for sure.
It's. I mean, Chicago gets cold, like Milwaukee up that way. All around there gets really cold. Like Boston gets cold, but when you go to like Syracuse or go to certain places further north, or Canada, my goodness, Canada. Whew, I don't know how they do it in Canada and when it gets cold, because I've gone to Canada a couple of times, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again. But enough of a travel show. Let's talk about some motorcycle racing. Let's talk about the classic, because that's coming up this weekend. I mean, I know there's some other stuff that's going on, but I'll lean to Tyson first on this. You've been coming to Love now for a bit. What are your thoughts on the classic, and what are you hoping to see? And Is it something that you hope continues for the future, for a long time in the future, where here's a motorcycle racing series that once upon a time the Dash for Cash was, I forget, like 500 or 1,000 or something like that, and then we were able to get this purse that's now $250,000, but it's spread out against different classes, but the main race gets the bulk of that money. What are your thoughts on the Dash for Cash happening at this is bike week up this way, so there's a lot of bikers, there's a lot of cool things happening at the same time.
I mean, I like it quite a bit. I'm also kind of annoyed by it because it kind of takes away a weekend of riding to a degree. It's a love-hate relationship with me for sure.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. All these random people coming in is like, bro, this is my spot. Like, I've been here every weekend for the last 5-6 years, kind of deal, and all of a sudden someone's in your spot, and it's like, what the fuck? But beside the point, it is fun though. I like having sort of like that special day where a bunch of people come out, and it's a little bit more fanfare than you usually get to see, and it's also good to see some other riders coming in and racing against these the best guys who usually race at Loudon, just sort of like see how they compete together. I think that's a really cool thing to witness. It's almost like a pro-am. I mean, it is a pro-am race to a degree, but it is cool to watch. Like, you don't see that too much anymore. It seems like that's like a dwindling spectacle.
Yeah, I agree, because for I for growing up in Boston, this is like there's you hear stories of legendary riders, right? And you go, if only this person had the chance to get on a track and try, he might have had something. Where here's a race where if you can qualify, you can go race against pros. It's like you can't do that in the NBA, you can't do that in NFL, you can't do it in a lot of other places. But this is one of the few places that you can just show up, pay your entry fee and compete with the best of the best at that series at that moment.
I mean, you can do that to a degree at Moto America as well, but isn't there like entry fee? Like it's like $5,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, your entry fee is what, $100 for whatever your race is, which is the Dash for Cash for Saturday,
Right. Yeah, exactly. The entry fee for Moto America is a lot more, but I mean, it's motorsport in general, like, regardless of Formula One or whatever, like motorcycle racing, it's one of the few. This is like, if you got the money, they're gonna let you get on the track.
Yeah,
that's the cool part about it. But yeah, you're right. The fact that it doesn't cost the same amount as it would at Motor America event, and you get to stack yourself and your machine up against the some of the pros. It's pretty cool to see, and it's interesting because there's some fast dudes at Loudon.
Oh yeah,
local dude. You know what I'm saying? Local
really?
guys that are just fast. That's like you would. It's and I in all fairness, I'll say this: it's every home track for any rider where they are in the U.S. They're gonna put down lap times similar to what the pros are doing. Those fast guys at that track,
right?
Because it's their home track. You know what I mean? That kind of thing versus showing up, and breaking a lap record your second time at a track or something like that. So, because you look at Jersey, and their races, there's a lot of folks that only race Jersey. So, like when CCS Azure comes around, they only show up to Jersey, and they're killing it because they do track days there and they only race there. But then when they get to another track, it changes up a little bit. What are your thoughts, man, Harry?
What's the lap record
at Loudon?
Yeah, for the Superbike.
So there's race a 6. Go ahead.
There's a 600. Yeah, I think it's like a 109 or like a 108, something like that. Someone beat it a year or two ago, because it was like a 111 for a while, and then I think someone beat it by like a second or two. I can't remember.
It was only a super sport race.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It's a middleweight bike race.
Okay.
So it's R6s, Gixxer 600s.
Yeah, and D-Tune 750s and D2s, similar like the Daytona 200. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's super middleweight bikes. and stuff like that. There is a heavyweight and big bike class, but there's no pay. The dash for cash has
Oh,
always been a 600.
Yeah, it's just 1000s are a lot at Loudon. Like it is a pretty small track, and
oh,
I don't think even the 1000s. Like I don't think they're doing much better times than the 600s. Like
No,
it has nowhere to stretch its legs.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. I mean, the straightaway on a big. I mean, on a 600. I don't know what do you. I mean, I might get 140 before I'm breaking, maybe, and it's like literally like.
Oh yeah.
It's not like Daytona. There's no appreciation whatsoever. But yeah, I assume they must have similar races down in Texas. So they must be some clubs that race not just in track days, right?
For sure, but I don't. It's not a big purse like that though.
Okay, no, and the majority of them are not. So for this to happen is pretty cool. And it's really good turnout. I mean, the first year was raining. And I forget what the second year was, but like it's still, I mean, it's still pretty cool to see. So I'm excited that it worked out where I'm able to get up and be in Boston and then go up this weekend and go check it out in person and stuff like that. So I don't know who's gonna. I mean, all the times. I mean, Hayden Gillum won once. I think did Tyler Scott win?
Scott won. I think he won twice in a row.
Twice, and Gillum won once. Yeah. So
and then before that, it was who is it? There's some guy from like Vermont or like Canada that would like come down just for the classic, beat it, and then like go home.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his name. He maybe New Hampshire or Vermont, but yeah, it was kind of.
I know Shane used to come up for that. Shane Noble.
Is it Shane? Shit, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because he won it like 10 or 11 years in a row in like the mid 2000s, 2010s.
Wow.
Yeah. He's fast dude. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the weather is going to be halfway decent. So although it's supposed to be some weather watch going on up this way, so we'll see how much rain we get.
The tornado warning.
Yeah,
we had one too.
It's pretty wild, but Harry, like Boston is not that big, so it's a small city, but it's a fun city.
Yeah,
and
sounds like
and to be one of the first 13 that it believes us as big as New York City. Even though we're not. We believe we are. And
right.
We are. If you look at all the records, it seems like we are. So I of all the places to grow up, I can't complain.
Right.
All right, let's talk about World Superbike a little bit. We just kind of, we already chopped it up on the previous show, but I was watching Super Sport and the Superbike race. I just want to see if you guys had anything to get off your chest about, Bulaga, what Ika Lukono did. I mean, I think he's getting more upset, which is good because that means he wants to get faster. I mean, I think Ducati might be making his bike just a tad slower, just to keep
tuning it a little bit.
But we start with you, Harry. I mean, what do you think of the race weekend at Mazzano, and what Ducati's doing?
Right. It was cool. Like I watched both races, but the second race, the second Superbike race, I wasn't too much interested in it because it's a Bulaga show. Like, you know what I mean? He's really showing out on the Ducati, and like his teammate, he's trying, but like you said previously, like maybe they're making Bulaga's bike just a little faster than his bike. But my most interesting thing to watch this past weekend was Super Sport, and just so excited to see what Valentin is doing with ZX Moto, and just. Man, it's just a manufacturer just come out the blue like that, and to lay the laps down and battle some of the biggest names in motorsport history. And Mazzano was just, it was a sight to see, especially with an unknown person that we really haven't heard about, as far as Valentin being a Frenchman, and just him just pushing that Chinese bike to the limit, man. It's just good to see, like, and especially the way he rides. It's just a very unique riding style that he has, and he's putting pressure on. He's putting pressure on everybody on the grid, because if you watch the races, it's pretty much a Yamaha type thing, and the V2s kind of come in a little later. But to see Valentin just take charge of that, and on a brand new manufacturer that nobody has never heard, and for him to just push it to the limit like that, to show his skills, along with pushing that bike to the limit and showing the the power that bike has, is Super Sport is being more watchable versus Superbike, because it's kind of calculated of who's going to win in Superbike, just to be completely honest.
Right. No, it's pretty wild to see, and I don't think and I'm pretty sure somebody will set me straight, but I don't think like KTM didn't come into MotoGP and do what ZX is doing, or Aprilia didn't come back to MotoGP and do what it's doing. It's you look at seeing the Moto2 frame companies that's come in after and struggled. So for these guys to come in and they're just knocking it out the box, it's pretty wild to see.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. The last time we probably witnessed something like that was, I say, Sylvan, when he was on the Aprilia, when Kawasaki was dominating in Superbike. That's the last time we pretty much got caught off guard from a manufacturer, even though Aprilia was a known name manufacturer, but Kawasaki was just dominating. And it's similar. It got similar, but that's Superbike versus Super Sport.
Right.
But super happy for Valentin.
Yeah, yeah, likewise, because his career was up and down. I think he was in Superbike for a bit and then got pushed back down, or did he go back to the 300s for a bit and came back up? But he didn't have a career like some of these other guys have had, where it's just been consistent, trajectory going up until you're either injured out or old, and it's time for you to move on. Tyson, man, what are your thoughts on the Superbike? I mean, you can even talk about the sport bike, the Super Sport, or the Superbike class. I mean, I still think the Superbike class is fun to watch. There's other riders that have come in. It's nice that Garrett Gerloff got signed to another year to Kawasaki. Hopefully, they add a second bike, so that way he has a teammate to hopefully get a little bit quicker and fight. What are your thoughts, man?
I'll start off with Super Sport. I can't recall another manufacturer. Is this their first year, ZX Moto? Yeah. I can't recall another manufacturer coming in in any sort of racing in their first year and compete for wins and the championship.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Group B Rally, but that was kind of an iteration of something they were already doing, and then just took all the brakes off and just said, go ham. You know what I mean? But that is quite impressive of them to be that high up in the championship as a new manufacturer. When it comes to World Superbike, at this point, I would just be watching to see if he can pull off the perfect season. I mean, a win in every single race. If he just crashes on the last weekend, that would be devastating. At that point, that is his championship. Win every one of them. See if he's the only one who could do it.
I've already been on record saying I don't think he is. I mean, I think between mechanical and a crash and Ika just finally the race 2, to me, Ika made a mistake and he couldn't recover. And I'm not going to sit here and say Bulaga wouldn't have passed him anyway, but you don't want to make a mistake for the fast guy to pass you. You'd rather have him, pass you for real. And I don't know. Sometimes you can get yourself upset and pull off a miracle, but I don't know if you want to race a motorcycle being upset. Yeah, I think you want to race a motorcycle feeling good and having fun. So we'll see what happens, in the future. But I do think that the only person that can probably beat Bulaga at this point is Ika or himself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's had 18 chances basically now to have a mechanical, and he hasn't. That is quite impressive. Just from the manufacturer's side and their support. I mean, they've been basically running the same bike for the last 4 or 5 years with some iterations, but I mean, they've done a great job. I mean, I remember when they first brought that big V4, it was having a bunch of mechanicals the first couple of seasons, and I mean, this is impressive reliability in any sport of racing classification whatsoever. But yeah, I don't unless there's a mechanical or there's just some freak accident or he just loses it in a corner somewhere. I don't see anyone beating him.
Yeah, no, I know he's going to win the title. But we'll see. I mean, they're gonna have 3 weeks off, and then come back, and we'll see. It'll be interesting what the second half of the season look like, because I think the motors. I think there'll be motors more than the Kawasaki, but definitely most of the Ducati riders feel that if they got whatever Bulaga has, they can be a little bit closer to him. I mean, it's the same bike, so it'll be interesting to see. But let's
what
talk
else are they not getting?
They're not factory. They're not factory, man.
But I'm just saying, like, what's the point of they not getting?
They don't get all the up, down, left, right. They don't get all the cheat. They don't get the cheat codes.
Don't get the cheat codes.
I don't know. Do they share data? Do they share?
I think they should. I know MotoGP they share data. I assume in World Superbike, I'm making the assumption in World Superbike that all the Ducati share data, but the factory team gets the best components, and
for sure.
riders have to earn their way up to get parts, which is I don't think it's fair. But we see them. We see it with Zarco and Honda. It's like, yo, I got the win. I got the thing, but y'all ain't giving me parts. Y'all treating me like the guy to go test everything, and I'm the one that can get on the podium. Like, let them test it, and let me continue to get on the podium.
It's one thing that I remember from when Jack Miller was with Ducati. He said that that Ducati, the team Ducati, the actual team, head team, has their own 3D printer. So like they print parts out. So it's easier for them. So I can imagine if they have it in MotoGP, and for sure they have that in World Superbike. So Bulaga's are always going to have the top tier things every time he steps on the grid.
Right. We know from tuning our bikes or tuning cars or whatever, not all tuners are the same. Not all engine builders are the same.
Right.
You gotta know the right person, and you gotta hopefully that the right person likes you and want to help you.
Absolutely.
So I think we saw that in the super sport class with the Yamaha R9s. Where they struggled more last year than this year. But it's about the parts. It's about who can make efficient parts and make the difference. Let's talk about MotoGP. Mark Marquez is back. He's in Bruno. One of the, I forget his record is either 5 or 4 wins at the track. It's a track I would like to go watch in person. I got to say that I'm looking forward to going to the Czech Republic and watching the race in person. I am a fan of the track as a whole. I don't know if you guys caught the press conference from earlier today with Bez, Mark, and Acosta. It's I don't even know where to start, but let's start with Aprilia since they're up front, because last week was a situation where you just got to eat it at this point. But where do you see Aprilia having to go? I mean, we won't know what conversations we had with anyone. This is it's a fast track, so like, what does Aprilia have to do this weekend besides not crash, which we figured 2 races ago with Raul and Martin, and the conversations that everyone had at Aprilia, like this past week, race wouldn't have happened. It's rider error. It sounds like, just listening to Mark and everyone say he made a mistake. What does Aprilia have to do this weekend to kind of continue to show that they should be the the manufacturer that everybody is chasing. What are your thoughts, Ario?
I think Trackhouse and Bez needs to get in front of Mark ASAP. They don't need to let Mark get in front of them because you see what Mark will do this past weekend. The last race. If they can stay in front of Mark, then they'll be good. But Jorge Martin got that double lap penalty, so he's probably not going to place anything higher than 8th, maybe, due to whoever's on the course the GP this weekend. Because just like you said, it's a fast GP, it's a fast circuit, so he's not going to be able to recoup anything below 7 or 8. But like I said, Rob Fernandez, Agura, and Bez just need to stay in front, man. They need to do whatever they need to do to stay in front of Mark. Because as we all know, Pedro Acosta might start off with a lead, but that KTM is not going to hold his weight. But if they can just stay in front of Mark, then they'll be okay. I think that has to be the strategy.
He's getting close, though. He's getting closer. He's definitely a lot closer. Between being upright on the bike and finishing races, right? Because last year, he was bending it or sending it, or both. So he's definitely getting closer. Tyson, what are your thoughts, man, on Aprilia? What they got to do to kind of let everyone know, like, we're not a hurry come up, as they say.
I'm gonna have to agree with Harry on this. Like, I think their plan has to be just get as many of their bikes in between Marc Marquez in first place. What were you saying? This is Mark's 4. He's had 4 or 5 wins here in a row. Is that what you're saying?
I think I don't know if in a row, but he's won. I think they said 4 times earlier, so this could be his 5th one or something like that, or he has 5 and could be his 6th.
Yeah, and I mean, Mark loves to pick up steam and come to a track that he's won quite a bit at. He probably likes. I think we're getting into some of the tracks that he likes quite a bit coming up. So if they really want to make sure this championship's in the bag, I think they kind of have to prevent Mark from having this one and letting him pick up some confidence and some steam, put a pep in his step, and start putting it to him. I think one of their advantages, though, is that they seem to have some sort of camaraderie to a degree, minus Martin, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they could work relatively well with each other, just to be like, if they're like, all right, whoever's in first, all right, they get first, and we'll just if they make mistakes, we'll take them, but we're not going to hound each other too hard. And then if we ever see Mark just battle, make him lose time. Anytime he needs to pass one of us, just chew as much time out of his race as he possibly can. I think they could pull it off, but they got to make sure they start out in front of him or get in front of him.
I agree. And I think, I think the key to that is Agura, right? Agura has to qualify well. Because that gives that, we know Raul can qualify well, we know Bez can qualify well, and Agura is the only one. We know Martin can, so Martin would have to get pole position to finish to end up in maybe 6th or 7th place. Maybe he can fight his way back up, right? If he's not on the starting grid with the double long lap penalty, it's going to be tough for Martin. So I think Agura just has to. He just has to qualify well, and we saw a little bit of that last round, and so I think that if he qualifies well, I think it gives them a shot. Now, you got both you guys have been talking about Mark and Ducati, and unfortunately, Digia didn't get a chance to show what he can do. It seems like Pecco is just in the right place at the right time moment, right? Because he's just picking up the scraps, but. Is it really just Mark? I mean, it's fair to say Digia can also be an issue as well, and should be an issue. Got to be mentioned. I can't say Pecco yet because of the consistency. You got to beat the people. You can't just finish in front of them because we're in the right place.
Consistently got third in the last 3 races.
Yeah, Digia has been a problem. I think him and Agura need to that's Agura's problem. Agura needs to handle Digi. They've had some previous battles going back and forth for the previous races, and I think that's Agura's like battle right there. And if he can deal with him early and, at least cause some friction, not necessarily friction, but just slow his pace down a little bit by battling him, then it should give Bez the opportunity to actually really put down some hot laps and really beat Mark. Because like I said, I didn't think Mark was going to come back this strong, but, I'm still a fan of his. And, man, if they could just slow him down just a little bit. Pecco, I don't know what Pecco's going to bring to the table, but he's still a good rider. He's a champion. He's a champion. So I can never count him out. So, he knows these tracks just like any other of these riders on the grid, but it just seemed like he doesn't have the hunger. And it might be the performance of the motorcycle why he's not bringing his total focus to what he needs to be doing on the grid. But hopefully he shows some promise this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, he has to beat everybody before we can say he's the guy. But he is the guy. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
At the moment, between last year and this year, when we look at it in that little window, this year is a lot better than last year. And last year was by far one of the worst years in MotoGP in a long time. This year he's been doing the right things, but still. What are your thoughts, Tyson, man? Is Digia up there and is worth mentioning with Mark as far as the Ducatis, and I don't want to. And let's talk about Furman as well, but he's coming off of injuries. So I think there is 3 Ducatis that can show up. What are your thoughts?
I think for Digia, I think this is going to be one of those races where we're going to find out what season this is going to be for him. He's shown some decent consistency, keeping it in the pointy end of the grid for the most part of the season. And this last weekend was probably his worst weekend of the year. And so I think if he can come out strong in this race and keep that confidence, keep that ball rolling down the hill, I'm hoping and I think that could show that he'll keep up that pace. But if we get another 12th or 13th finish and him crashing out, I think it's just the beginning of the fall of Digia. Every year he has a strong start and then sort of slowly fades off into the distance. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to Pecco, it's good to see him. He's gotten consistent 3rd place for the last couple of races, which is good to see. The only thing I don't like seeing is that it's taking him so long. Like you said, either he's getting lucky or it's taking him so long in a weekend to find some pace. Right. He needs to get some of that pace a little bit earlier in the weekend, show that in qualifying, show that in a sprint, and then show it in the race. But it is a good look for him based off of his last year and a little bit of the beginning of this year for him. And I hope it's leaning more towards him gaining some more confidence and feeling that bike and less just being in the right place at the right time. He is a champion. I would like to see him do better, but he just seems to have he seems so lost. That's the only way I can describe him. He's just lost. He hasn't found his heart or his soul yet. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree. All right, guys, let's talk about KTM. We talked about Acosta a little bit. The press conference. This guy is hungry. He wants to win. With all the troubles that KTM has had. When another company comes and takes you over, they're looking at the books, they're looking at places they can cut. It seems like a lot of the riders are struggling. The only one that's not struggling is Acosta. He seems like he's riding free, even though he's leaving to go to Ducati next year. This is Bruno. Is this their home track, Bruno, for KTM, or is it Austria?
They're Austria. They're Red Bull Ring.
Still close, somewhat. And what do we expect? What should we expect from KTM this weekend, guys? Start with Hario.
I think it's just going to be, for sure, it's going to be Acosta and probably be Bastianini coming along probably in the later laps of the race. And it's just, I don't know what's really going on with KTM, because I think they're all giving all 4 of their riders the equipment to be successful. I just think they just don't have the talent or riding capabilities to do what Acosta is doing. But That's my only thing that I can see what's wrong with KTM. But they should be doing a lot better than what they are doing, because just look what Acosta is doing. But like I said, Hensley, is due to his skills. I just hate to see Bastianini just, here it is, close to like 3/4 of the race, and then he's making a charge. I just don't understand like what's really going on. Like what's the difference of his motorcycle versus Acosta's?
Well, I'll say this, man.
Sometimes it kind of confuses me sometimes.
Right. Bastianini was a fast rider on Ducati between Grassini and the factory team. Granted, on the factory Ducati, he got hurt and was out a bunch. And it's unfortunate how he lost the seat, but that's for another story. Maverick, winning guy. He's won, on pretty much all the manufacturers he's raced on, except for KTM. These guys, I say all of to say, it's like these guys on different machinery are top 5 riders. So this for KTM, this is huge, because they gotta. I mean, one guy is great because Davio did it for Ducati, and I mean Anoni was there too, but mostly Davio was the most consistent rider for Ducati before we got into the era of what Ducati was doing and winning titles. So maybe this is a breakthrough for them with what Acosta is doing, but he's leaving. But I'll turn to you, Tyson, man. What can KTM do to get the other 3 riders up top or further up the pile?
All right. So what they're going to do is they're going to have to rob a couple banks and then develop a better bike. I don't know. I mean, joking aside, I really don't know. It is kind of baffling. It really reminds me of Marc Marquez on those terrible Hondas. Like, there was good riders on those Hondas doing nothing. And then there was Marc Marquez throwing it on pole, just like 13 places above the next closest Honda. And you're just like, how? And I'm just thinking, is that who Pedro is? Like, is he just that good that he is worth 10 extra positions on your bike? Like, you can put anybody else on the bike and they'll get this spot, and you put Pedro on it and you'll get plus 8, 9 positions.
Let me ask you this before you go on. If we put Pedro on a Ducati and put Marquez on a KTM, would Marquez still be number 2? And because we know Pedro's going to be number 1 because we see what he's doing on a Ducati. I mean, on KTM. How do you think Marquez would fare on that KTM?
I'd say probably similarly to Acosta. I don't know if he could do much better than what Acosta's doing. Okay. I mean, like, I don't think it's like it's easily the 3rd best bike on the grid, maybe the 4th. I mean, it's better than a Yamaha, and I guess it's a toss-up between a Honda. But it's just so tough because Pedro makes it. He'd be fighting for 3rd place, and you're like, oh, this KTM's pretty good. And then you look down the chart, and you're like, where's the next KTM? Right. And so it's like, is it actually?
Yeah, I mean, we're saying that with Honda and Zarco, right? But at the beginning of the season, at the end of last season, we were saying, listen, KTM needs to do something. They need to figure something out. I think I'm wearing my glasses. They think they need to figure something out. And, we sat here and I sat here and said, like, Honda look like they're coming, and I find that this year KTM is, I think they're really a number 2 bike, even though they're really number 3 on paper, if that makes sense. Because like Ducati, between Mark being hurt, between what's going on there, Ducati's kind of like, it's a different rider in Ducati that's kind of keeping the Ducati flag running at number 2. But there's one consistent rider that's keeping the KTM running at like number 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, if in that case, then I would say, like, if you give me that information, I would say the Ducati would be the better bike. Like, if I'm seeing a bunch of different riders keeping the manufacturer at their 2nd place position, then I would say you're seeing a lot of different people finding success. Whereas you tell me about KTM, and I'm like, okay, so only one person is getting success on your bike, and everybody else is averaging, less than that. Like, well, there's obviously something's going on here. Maybe it's the rider, maybe it's the bike, maybe you gave one person a different bike than all the other 3. But like, to me, I would say like you're 3rd, in that case.
Okay.
I don't know. It's interesting to say the least, because you would think everybody would be equivalent on the grid as far as KTM, but it's just always Pedro Acosta's up front and the rest of the three riders are like in the rear, and it's just like, man, what's going on? What is going on? Like, what the South African kid?
Bender?
Yeah, Bender is he's not progressing. You know, it's just, and it's crazy to see that though. Like, it always intrigues me just to see how KTM is just Pedro Acosta's fast, but all the rest of the three guys are slow. It's just I don't know.
I think, as I'm listening to you talk, Kevin Garnett comes to mind because, when Kevin Garnett left his team and came to Boston, I don't know, at some point he said he should have left sooner. And I wonder where Brad is being loyal, because he was KTM on, he won a world title on Moto2. He came up KTM. He's what, Jorge Martin should have been, right? Because that's what Brad did. And so forth. And I'm wondering if Brad, should have left KTM some years ago instead of being this way. I mean, who knows? He could be a test rider in the future, and KTM and Red Bull and all that. He'll probably have a good financial life. But I'm wondering if Brad should have, because if he's out of MotoGP after this year, I'm wondering if he should have left KTM sooner. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so too, because he has the skills. He's been putting it on. I mean, like you said, from Moto2 to where he is currently, and I just think he's just been loyal to the people that have given him opportunity. And just like you made that Kevin Garnett analogy, he probably should have left.
Sometimes it's the right place at the right time in the right situation too. Like when you're talking about Kevin Garnett, I was thinking that, like, sometimes a bike or a chassis or the way it rides just speaks to a specific person, and they can they're like, this is exactly what I wanted and how I wanted to feel it. And they just ride the wheels off it. Whereas other people are like, I have no idea how you're riding this thing. It is terrible. And they can't do anything on it. Like, Sebastian Vettel, when he was with Red Bull, he liked a really loose rear on his car, or not a loose rear. Sorry. He liked a lot of rear grip on the back of his car. And he didn't really care much about the rest of the setup. Whereas, Max Verstappen needs to have like a really tight front end, and he really needs to chuck that car into a corner and to get the max out of it. And we've seen a little bit of that from them too, is like the car kind of lost that edge to it, and Max could no longer sort of push it that far. So I feel like some of this might be a little bit of that, is that some of these bikes are really speaking to some of these riders, and they're really utilizing them because they've kind of melded with it so well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's
so you think it's like on the.
Go ahead.
Do you think it's like more of like the R&D side, where like the engineer is pretty much saying is whatever's working for Acosta, you guys need to try to follow suit and try to, meet the standard of what he's doing? Or do you think they the R&D guys, the engineers try to, make the bikes personalized to the different riders?
I mean, it's the chicken or the egg, Is it fast because Acosta wants it to be fast, or is it fast because Acosta's making it fast? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my point by that is, like, are they doing it because Acosta's saying you need to do this, or are they doing it because Acosta is fast when they add certain little parts and it makes him faster? So they think that will make the bike faster, not realizing that, like, it is then upsetting the other riders. And I think that happens a lot in MotoGP, or we see that frequently. Ducati and Honda before that. Like, I doubt they were making specific, like, R&D choices on that Ducati specifically for Marc Marquez, realizing that they had so many other bikes. But to my point is, he's going so well and he's doing so well. How do you ignore that performance he's getting out of it when you bring upgrades and he goes faster?
Right.
I'll say this. There's some people that just believe they're dope. They just believe that I don't care what you give me, I'm beating you. Right? It's like
for sure.
Believe that. And they're the people that will make a bad machine go fast or be successful, because there's there's a natural feeling that you get that you know what the problem is, but you can ride around it or race around it
Right.
or drive around it and
Right.
and go fast. And there's people
Right.
who can just naturally do that, and there's other people who are very technical. Like, I gotta brake here, gas here, modulate trap throttle here. Like, I have to do all where other people are just kind of like, but let's see what today give us.
Yeah.
And they just and they race or drive to the wind or to the field. And I think Marquez is a rider that rides to the field. Acosta and some of these other guys, they can ride, they can make anything go fast because they're not they're not trying to change the machine. They're adjusting to the machine and go and figure out ways to make it go faster. Because that's a great ride. Okay, what field you in? When you can figure out how to when you can figure out how to get around problems and be successful, like that's life, right?
Man, I'm telling you, that is life. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And like to your point what you just made, Rex, about like how people conform themselves to the machine. I think about when Casey Stoner was with Ducati, and when the late great Nicky Hayden came to Ducati. He said that he couldn't understand, like, it was so tight, it was so stiff, the Ducati was so stiff. And like you just said, it was to the greatness of who Casey Stoner was, because Nicky Hayden had a problem. He was a champion before Casey Stoner. He was coming off a Honda. He said that it was just the bike was just so stiff. But Mark, like you said, Mark just conformed himself to the machine. Like and I love that though. Like he just conformed himself to the machine and bringing the best out of it. He's probably not really asking for too much, and that's probably the issue they probably having with Pecco. Like Pecco's asking for all these changes, but they looking at Mark just conform to the machine.
Right. Yeah, and listen, I don't know. I'll say this: I don't know what's right, because at the end of the day, look, if I want a carrot cake or if I want a steak, I don't care how you make it, as long as it tastes good when I'm eating it. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is the thing with what's so cool about the racing, right? Because you look at these riders. And you're looking at a guy. I can't say I don't know Pecco enough to sit here and say it's like if he's a numbers guy where he's just like, give me the numbers and I'll make it work. Maybe he's a field guy. Maybe he's kind of like, he needs to see the future a little bit. As human beings, we all move at different stuff. So I don't know if it's fair for Ducati to loosen up the restraints in a way that they say, look, let the rider figure it out. Where when there was 8 bikes on the grid, it was like there was a collective effort of information, and we were getting a baseline based on a collective effort, not based on one person.
Right.
And that's kind of where it. And I'm not saying Mark is that person that's doing that, but when you see the success of Mark, look, Mark is a one of a one. Miles, Hendricks, Marley, these people are one of one. Bukowski, they're one of one. You can't really overlay them over anyone else, and it's not fair to anyone else to overlay these guys to anyone else, because there's just some people who are just unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's it with Mark. And so we'll see what happens with Ducati coming up this round and stuff like that. And we talk more about Pecco than Digi, but I think that it'll be interesting to see what Ducati does, because I'll say this: if they don't win the title this year, it can't be an excuse that like, well, we were coming out with a new bike next year. It has to. They should win the title this year. Ducati should win the title this year. And at the moment, they're behind. And so we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But I think we've talked about that enough. Let's talk about Yamaha, because, it's tough in Yamaha. It's tough.
Yeah.
With them. I mean, I don't know if they've thrown in the towel yet, and they're just sitting here looking at the new bike and only focusing on the new bike. But from I'm a fan of Yamaha. I have two Ducatis, two Yamaha, two KTM, so I like bikes. But it's tough to see what Yamaha has when you've had riders like Quartararo, like Lorenzo, like Rossi, and I don't know if these guys. I don't know if the Rossi or the Lorenzo would have been able to make the bike go any faster than Quartararo is going on with. But at this point in time, like, do we just accept that Yamaha is just in the split space where they be, and we just don't take it personal in the fact that they're not being successful, or do we yell and scream and tell them to fix the problem?
Yeah, I think we should be yelling and screaming and fix the problem. They're a professional team. There's no way that you should show up. There's no way. Let me relax a little bit. There's no way that you should show up on the grid being such a legendary manufacturer that have won championships, that had some of the best riders that ride your bike, and you bring that to the grid on Saturday and Sunday, man. It is, I love Yamaha, Ducati, and Aprilia. Those are like my favorite motorcycles of all time, along with MV Agusta. But to see them not able to hang with Ducati and Aprilia is saddening, and it's saddening, and it looks bad on their legendary status of being such a breakthrough type of manufacturer that they have been in the past, and for them to bring the package that they're bringing every Sunday, man. It is. I'm not saying it's depressing. It's not depressing at all, but it's saddening to see, because they've had championship riders that come there and win, and I mean 1 and 2, like in the championship for years. And what they bring to the table, and seeing Fabio talent get wasted like that, it's just insufficient for me.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, Mr. BMW guy. I mean, we're not in MotoGP, but I'm sure you like Yamaha. What are your thoughts, man? And where they at?
BMW will join MotoGP when Porsche joins Formula One. You hear me now?
Oh God, let's do that. I'll put my Porsche hat on.
But I mean, do we not forget too that Yamaha was the last not Ducati manufacturer to win a championship? Like, it is pretty sad that it's kind of like come to this. It was only 5 years ago. Yeah. It's not that long ago.
No.
And it kind of feels like a Honda a little bit to me. Like, they had this big heyday. They slowly started petering out. They had a great generational rider who could still pull off some wins and some pole positions over the years. And then slowly those just started getting less and less and less until their generational rider leaves, and they've got to pick up the pieces and rebuild a bike and start from the ground again. But I'm with Hario, though. It is sad. Like, I remember seeing Rossi on that Yamaha. Like, you see a MotoGP event and you see a Yamaha on the grid. Like, I get a little worried. Well, I mean, not these couple years, but I used to get really worried, being like, any one of those riders could have thrown it on pole or in a podium, even on like a relatively off year. Like, it could just be like their race that year or that day, and it's just sad to see. And I think Quartararo's checked out, and I think Yamaha's checked out. I think you're not going to see shit from them this year. All of their money and time is going into next year's bike and motor. Like, they may invest time and money into this bike only if it will show them results for the following year.
Right.
Otherwise, they will not invest the time and money.
Yeah, let me ask this, right? Because you mentioned Rossi, we all did, and when he joined Yamaha back in the day, nobody thought the Yamaha could win, but he thought something. The rider did. And so where Yamaha is right now, it's like, is it the rider's job to make us believe? Or is it the manufacturer's job to make us believe? Because it's always been the rider's job it's always been the rider that made us believe. It's never we're never been sitting. We're as much as we're fans of the sport, we're fans of the riders more than we're
Correct.
fans of the manufacturers, right? You know
It's
what I'm saying?
different these days, though.
If you like Yamaha, you like Yamaha because of Rossi. If you like Ducati, you like Ducati because of whatever rider. You didn't just say I like Ducati and there's no rider. It was the rider you fell in love with,
Yeah.
and then you fell in love with what they rode, right? So
Yeah.
is it
Right.
so should these riders with Yamaha right now start to believe they can make the difference?
I pose a
And I'm not
question
saying
though.
they're not believing. Start is not the
Yeah.
right word. Should these riders acknowledge that they should make a difference?
I think so too. I believe that. Like, I pose this question: do you think they're just picking riders, and they're not really pairing them up with the engineers? Like, does the rider of the motorcycle have the knowledge to convey the information that they need to get the best out of the motorcycle? Do you think that, or do you think they're just fast riders?
Listen, I'll say this, right? And as I'm listening to you speak, I think of Lewis Hamilton and his win with Ferrari. We look at what last year with Ferrari when he first got there and the changes. Ferrari embraced Lewis Hamilton's suggestions, changed their car, and you see where the car is.
Exactly, especially for the brakes. I seen that about the brakes. I read that about the brakes.
So at the end of the day, I gotta say it's the rider.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think they can speak the information I don't think they can convey the information that's needed to the engineers to get the best out of the bike. I don't think they possess the knowledge. I just think they've just been riding motorcycles since they were kids, and nobody really sat them down to teach them, hey, look, how does this feel? If I explain to them everything, the intricate roles of everything in part of a motorcycle to bring out the best. I don't think the current MotoGP riders have that particular knowledge.
Listen. I agree. I agree with you, and my analogy is music. Do you respect the producer that remixed the melody that whomever created? Or do you respect the person that created it and the engineer or the musician? They just remix it. I think some of these writers are trying to be like Mike. They're trying to be like this, but they ain't trying to be like, nah, not Mike. It's 45. You know what I'm saying? This is
right.
So I think that some of these writers, artists, and whoever else need to. I mean, it's a different space because there's so much that has done. So there's not a lot of room to kind of move the needle in a direction like how it used to be done. But at the same time, once upon a time, Quartararo used to say, "I don't care, practice anything. I'm on a bike." And somewhere along the line, he lost that. And I think riders or people in general need to try to not just move the needle, but be a part of changing the needle. And as a rider, the Lorenzo, the Rossi, the Marquez, we can go on these riders who have moved the needle in a way, which is pretty impressive. So Tyson, man, what are your thoughts on, is it the riders? Is it the bike? Is it just a bad time and a moment in general?
I think part of what we may not be appreciating is the very rapid change in technology that all of these guys have just experienced. Like,
okay.
You're talking about Rossi jumping on that Yamaha. Like,
you're blaming it on the alcohol.
Blame it on the alcohol, yeah. But jumped on that Yamaha. Yeah. Well, like, the bikes were different. It was a chassis, wheels with a motor. That was pretty much it. Like, sure, there's a lot of it was like motor design and stuff like that. People were fighting over horsepower and that kind of, like, I remember that was the chat, suspension, that kind of jazz. But that's some basic. I mean, where cars and bikes are these days, that's basic engineering and, science to a degree. But what they're into now, like wings, ride height devices, active suspension, there's so much going on with these bikes. I think it may just be a whole whirlwind for some of these guys that may not know how to translate what they want to feel into what parts need to be changed to give them that effect. Like Formula One, Formula One have had rear spoilers and front spoilers and active suspension. Well, I mean, not anymore, but like, they dealt with active suspension and all these sort of techs for 40, 50 years. Like there's very little sort of new groundbreaking technology that they're really experiencing from one year to the other. So they know how to, like, if I'm not feeling enough grip on the car, what do I need to do? I need to stiffen up, one of the dampeners, or maybe give it a couple more clicks on the front wing. Like nothing's really different going from like one thing to another, but all these wings, all this tech on their bikes, like I think that's adding a lot of variables that they previously did not have to think about. And I agree with you. There probably is a little bit of just miscommunication between engineer and rider, and they're all still trying to figure that out right now. Would be my guess as to kind of what's going on.
I like that, man. No, yeah, I did not think of it that way. But you're absolutely right. You're right. This is still all new technology. It is. Like it's not 40 years of tech.
So one of the things I don't remember what this was a video. I don't remember who brought it out, but they were talking about the new wings, and the new wings don't actually work like they do to a degree. Like on the straights, they keep some weight down, but that's not their primary sort of function anymore, especially with anti-wheelie and their active suspension. So right now is when they come into a corner, they're angled sort of down like this. So when they're at an angle, they provide an actual parallel wing plane to give them lateral G-force into the corner. And the way they're doing this, and a big reason why they hang off even further now, is to stall that wing that they're on. So when they hang off, that wing that's closest to them, closest to the ground here, that is being stalled. All the wind coming from here, it's stalling it. It's no longer creating lift or force. It's this outside wing in the corner giving them that lift and force. So that's kind of what I mean. Like there's these new sort of science and technologies. I may have gone to school for it, but I mean, it's cool. Like I do like the engineering side of it. I agree with you. We all got into this for the riders. Like I loved Marc Marquez. I loved Valentino before that, but then I really started getting into bikes and watching MotoGP with Marquez, and we were roughly around the same age. So it was like really cool seeing him winning championships at 18. But that's why I got into it. But I also like the tech about it. Like it is really cool. Some of the things they're figuring out. I remember 10, 15 years ago talking to my dad about why don't they automatically adjust the dampeners and the compression for like bumps in the road and like stuff, just talking about it. And then 10 years later, it's on production prototype bikes, and I have a bike with, similar technology on it. So, just those sorts of things. They're cool, and I like the technology.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. Like, but I think with the technology, the people that's going to use it the most, I feel like they need to be intelligent on it also, because just get on a motorcycle and being able to be fast, just like I mentioned previously. If you don't understand the technology, why do you have the technology? Now the technology is insignificant for you. I watched something this past weekend about the leg dangle. Like as they prepare themselves to go into the turn, how it levels the bike out almost like as they do the leg dangle and prepare them to lean. I was just like, man, I never thought about it. It's not just something cool that they do. It's the science behind it. Yeah, it's the science behind it.
That can actually help you in your normal sort of commuting. Like if you have a lot of wind hitting you from like a side angle or like different angles, if you stick your leg out, it provides just a little bit of drag, and it helps keep the bike, like instead of like going back and forth, the bike sort of like keeps straight because you're giving it sort of like a pressure against that wind.
Right.
Turn this into a science show. Come on.
I know, right? Hey, this was about, man. I love it. I love it.
Well, things you can do on Wikipedia at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man. We're using AI now. We're not using Wikipedia anymore.
Hey, whatever.
Hey, listen. I mean, this is the cool thing about this sport, because it's about the individuals that are up at 2 a.m. that are learning stuff and feel like we go back to the builders or the people that like there's not everybody can do it, but there's only a few people that's doing it right.
Correct.
And it comes down to the obsession of the person that really wants to, are curious, right? We're all,
Right.
curious and asking questions of stuff and wondering why and they turn around and find answers to things and we see where we are today. So, it'll be interesting to see what the 850 is like next year and stuff like that. I do still think it comes down to the rider, but we definitely need good engineers to make it work. And we see the disconnect when the rider and engineer don't speak the same language, and we see it when they do. So we're gonna, the MotoGP season is still pretty early, so it'll be interesting when we're at race 18 and 19 and see where things are. Let's pick the who you think is going to win the sprint and the main race, and then we'll get out of here. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, fast bike, fast track. What are you thinking?
Oh,
Tyson,
go ahead, Harry.
You go.
No, all right, I'll go. All right. All right. I'm gonna be a Stan. Mark's gonna win the sprint.
Okay.
I'll have Bez coming in second.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give it to Pedro in third for the sprint. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have Mark, Bez, and Pedro for the sprint, and then for the main race. All right, yeah, it's not gonna be Martin. Definitely not. I'm gonna go with Mark again. Oh, Bez, and I'm gonna go with Fernandez.
Okay. Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Hang on 1 second. It'd be a shame if Fernandez is not in MotoGP next year. It'll be a shame.
It will,
especially the amount of shit he got for so many years in these last 2 years. Like I was like, man, I felt for him. I was like, fuck yes, Raul, let's go.
I feel like he's done enough to earn a seat. I mean, I think if he finishes the end of the year top 5 and he doesn't have a seat, I think MotoGP failed because I mean, and don't get me wrong, I get it. It's a business, and if Lewis was on here, it's a business, and he did suck for a couple of years. But once upon a time, riders had a couple of years to get good.
For sure.
So, let's do your pick, man.
Okay, so Jorge Martin has to serve his 2-lap penalty on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Sunday. So
he's gonna get pole position, so you're all right.
Huh? Okay. So I say Jorge Martin wins the sprint. Mark comes in second and Bez in third.
All right. I can see that.
Bez in third. Huh?
I just had a little sandwich.
On Sunday, I think Bez, Raul, and Mark.
Okay. I see what you did there. Using science to like, oh yeah, that's right. He only has to do a double long lap in the main race, not the sprint. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I would love to see Raul get another win.
Yeah, I would
love
too.
him to just dog it out with Bez the last couple of laps. That would be good.
Yeah. That was a pretty good battle.
What would be interesting, and it wouldn't happen, but like if those guys, if Bez or Ayagura and Raul got the front row, that would be a very interesting race.
Man, it would.
That first lap.
I feel like Agura is the fastest out of all of them.
Really?
I feel so. In a whole race, I think so. Because you always see him coming through. And he's coming through people. He ain't just stuck behind people and can't find a way.
Right. Yeah, it's because he can't qualify or he made a mistake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if he got on the front row, yeah, I think he would beat the other two guys just based on his late race pace.
Dude, I think he's the most inconsistent Aprilia. Like he does great and then he's terrible. He does great.
No, Martin is the most Martin.
Oh man. Nah, you can't.
Bro, he was consistently out last year.
I saw the last pod. Y'all ragged Martin the last pod though.
like again, it's I don't know. The dude just he's like Max Biaggi. That's all. He's just
Oh man, the elbow, huh?
like he just takes like when you think of company, we've talked about this on the show of of teams not signing riders, not spending money on riders, not doing what's best for riders. Aprilia threw everything at this dude and gave him everything he wanted. Like, just show the love back.
Yeah,
they're gonna use him as the reason why they don't do it again. Promise you.
Yeah,
and I think go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of other teams are gonna do that too. I think he's really there's gonna be languages and contracts based on like the Michael Jordan rule. There's gonna be the Jorge Martin rule.
Didn't that already happen when he came into MotoGP?
Yeah, he was supposed to sign with KTM in MotoGP.
Yeah, he was.
He moonwalked his way out of that deal to sign with Ducati.
Yeah, did they have a rule after that, or is it just he burned the bridge with KTM? Is that all?
I think I don't know about the rule, but I know he burned the bridge with KTM after that. And obviously the rule Ducati now he's burned the bridge, and then with Aprilia he's burned the bridge. So there's only really Honda and Yamaha left. You know,
and the Japanese certainly don't have like an ego or pride or anything like that. So
I was upset with Martin with that whole fiasco last year, and like, bro, I was like, man, they gave you everything. You wanted to be on a manufacturer. You didn't make it to Ducati. You got, man. I thought he was. Yeah, I thought Aprilia and Jorge Martin was just like one of those like. What's the Marvel character? Nicolas Cage played Nicolas Cage with the chain. I thought it was getting ready to like
Ghost Rider.
I thought it was about to be some Ghost Rider, like just handing out wins and like, get behind me. Y'all should have gave me opportunity, but it's just like, man, they gave you opportunity when nobody else would, and then you turn your back on them.
Yeah,
like, man, I hope you don't have kids. I hope you don't have.
It was only after like 5 races.
And then the guy that they got for, I don't know, a lot less money, he becomes the showpiece. Right. And it's just like, and I don't know. I mean, at some point, this is the problem with human beings in general, right? Sometimes we can't get out our own way. So, I mean, he's a young guy. I get it. You're full of vinegar. You expect to believe whatever. But, here's a moment where like, oh, hey, Martin. And I we'll see what happens when he gets to Honda. Yamaha. But like, bro, you were on a bike that you're on a manufacturer that you probably could have won a title. I mean, he still probably could win a title this year. So I'm not gonna say he's out of the title race if he gets it together. But you could have won some titles with Aprilia because they are proven that they're the best bike on the grid. So I mean, and it's all. I mean, you don't know in real time back then and whatever. And maybe he made maybe he broke up with with a girl that he wished he didn't break up with. Maybe he wished he would have stayed with Ducati. I have no idea, but I think for Aprilia, like if I was the big dogs at Aprilia and all the stuff that's happened, I'd be like, how much is the rest of your salary? Man, here's your salary, man. I'll see you. Good luck. Go. You don't have to jump on the bike again. Because I think overall morale. And I know we're all professionals and we're supposed to be professionals and all that stuff. But when you're on a team and the main guy is just not right, not everybody's still going to do the right thing. Some of that stuff is going to seep over into these people. So like to save the whole family, if I would have said, man, it's a loss.
I'm surprised they didn't drop him like Vinales was dropped by Yamaha.
Again, right? You see what I'm saying? Like they, and I don't know if it's good for the ratings. I don't know if it's good for ratings. But it, after round when he won and was getting on the podium, I was sitting here saying like, is there a way for Aprilia to stay with this guy? But it's just kind of like, no,
it's not worth it.
Like,
he's not worth the hassle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to? And I think
You
my
know?
guess is the reason why they didn't drop him is that whatever they paying him 10 million a year or something like that. They didn't have 20 mil just to say goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
sure,
Possible.
Yamaha 10, 15 years ago had stacks of cash, and they were just like, "Oh, you don't want to play around? Whatever, drop in the bucket. We'll get somebody else, and they'll race our bike." But I just don't think Aprilia is. I don't think they have as deep of pockets as
Right.
Honda,
Right.
Yamaha, or Ducati.
Yeah. Or KTM. No, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, guys. My name is Rex25. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. I want to thank Harry with Two Wheels, One Chain, Tyson up north, the guy from up north. See you on Saturday
King of the North.
at the Classic. My name is Rex25. Peace.